Warning, warning. This is not a test.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a different situation than I was in last week. Don't worry, we'll be back to the regular filming location, hopefully next week, and I will once again have my nice jacket on. In the meantime, though, Kamen Rider Saber Episode 4 came out, so let's talk about it. Once again, Tassel opens our intro with a recap of last time. Whoopee. Toma, we then cut into Toma, our main rider, promising Ryo, who is Kamen Rider Buster, that he's going to save Sora, Sora being Buster's kid. Ryo absolutely hates the whole promise thing that Toma talks about, because he doesn't like it when people make promises that they can't keep. We then go into our opening sequence, and after that we've got Toma trying to find a book within the bookstore. The first book he goes to is an animal encyclopedia, because he wants to figure out why the bubble world from last time is still up, even though they defeated the Hanzaki Megiddo. And we find out that is because the Megiddo did not die. It's not a lizard, it's a salamander, hence why it was so slippery, and it has now regenerated its body and is now back and reformed. From there, we briefly cut back over to the Sort of Logos HQ, where we get Kento talking to Ryo, and he calms him down and is just like, listen, I get why Toma makes so many promises. Believe him, he will keep his promises. And Kento gives Ryo the Needle Hedgehog Wonder Ride book. Then we cut back to the bookstore, where Toma now finds a book of folklore that talks about a story of a salamander that kidnapped and ate people to try and become king. So, and last time the Hanzaki Megiddo was mentioning that it was going to give rise to a new king, so they're just like, oh, okay, the Megiddo's gonna eat people. Ryo then comes into the bookstore from the Sort of Logos HQ door and goes, why do you love promises so much? And Toma does not remember because of the whole amnesia thing that they're going for, that he doesn't remember entirely what happened 15 years ago. He just has dreams about it. So he says he doesn't know, but we get a brief flash of the girl flying away, so we know it has something to do with that. But that answers Ryo's question good enough for him. So he, Toma, and Runtaro Blades run off to go back to the bubble world for the Hanzaki Megiddo. We then cut over to Caliber, who summons Dazaste, which is a different Megiddo that apparently murdered a whole bunch of swordsmen 15 years ago, before he got imprisoned. Mai, get this, is an idiot. She tries to run after the three to go into the bubble world with them. She trips and falls. Out of her bag pops one of those blank Wonder Ride books that takes them to the kidnapped spot, and instead of going, oh, I should give this to the three riders so that they can just go there, she goes, no, let me open it, get kidnapped, and then pull out my fireworks and shoot off a bunch of fireworks. That makes much more sense. Yes, good job, Mai. You're very good at this. I don't even know. I don't get it. But right as Ryo, Toma, and Runtaro are going to go into the book world, Dazaste shows up, and Saber's just like, the dude's after me. I'll take him down. And Ryo goes, no, save my kid. I'll handle this. But they switch, so now Toma has the Needle Hedgehog book, and Ryo gets the Jack and the Beanstalk book. Toma and Rintaro then go in and pretty easily see the fireworks display, and they save everybody. And this creates magical character development for Sora, where he suddenly loves books. Wow, yay! Yeah, I mean, it was an obvious character development bit, but like, it wasn't even something about books. It was, oh look, the dude summoned a blue lion, and it saved us from being kidnapped. Yeah, sure, that would make anybody think that books are spectacular. But then we get Toma and Rintaro fighting against the Megiddo in Lion Fantastia and Dragon Hedgehog. So that whole naming convention thing last time I was talking about, where Saber takes the first word and Blades takes the second, that's completely out. I was just wrong, because Hedgehog is, because Hedgehog is the second word of Needle Hedgehog. So, whoops, that's my bad. I definitely thought they were doing something there, but they didn't. We get the Needle Learning Flash, I guess is what it's called, where they take the book and they scan it on the sword and then slash. Sure, it spawns a bunch of needles that stab into the dude. He blows up, but then regenerates again, so sure. We then cut back over to the fight between Buster and Desaste. We find out that Desaste also has his own Wonder Ride book that's called Storm Hawk that he just is holding on to for some reason, even though he was kidnapped. Sure. But this is where we get Buster Jack and the Beanstalk form. I really want to call it Buster Beanstalk just for the alliteration, so that's what I'll be calling it. It's not too much of a change. It really just changes like the arm guard, and it gives him the big like plant thing on his whip attachment throw-go device. Sure. But he beats up, he and Desaste meet in the middle using their finishing attacks, but Buster grabs the Storm Hawk book and just goes, I'm going to be taking this, and Desaste goes, yeah, sure, that sounds interesting, have fun, bye. He really just seems disinterested the entire time, so I don't really know what's up with him. I'm certain we'll get more later. But back over with Saber and Blades, they go, Saber's just like, well, if 2 books can't defeat him, maybe me using 3 books will. And so he steals, he yoinks Peter Fantastia right out of Blades' belt and puts it in. And that's where we get our first 3-book combo of Dragon, Hedgehog, Peter Fan, is what that's called. We get a little bit of good fighting. The fight scene between Buster and Desaste was really great for the most part on actually having cool swordplay, something that I was really kind of hoping for, because this has been a bit more CG focused and VFX focused, and with a name like Saber, I kind of was hoping that we would get more actual combat, not just special effects, but we're slowly getting a bit better balance after the first episode was very CGI focused. The finisher for this 3-book combo is bizarre and very unorthodox. Saber summons the fairy that then becomes super muscular and just starts going to town on the Megiddo before a bunch of spikes shoot out of her, and then she catches on fire. I do not know why they decided that any of that needed to be what the finisher for the first debut of this form was, but that's what they went with. After the Megiddo says, oh, I can't regenerate while I'm being impaled by a bunch of needles on a muscular fairy that's on fire, he blows up, the fairy goes back into its Na'vi looking for from Ocarina of Time, and just starts flying around Saber. Then they both de-henshin, so it's just Toma, and he falls over, and Rentaro goes and grabs him, and it's just like, using 3 volumes puts a lot of strain on the person. You're super reckless, let's get you home. And then out of nowhere, Caliber shows up, and he's just like, give me Brave Dragon and the Flame Sword. And so then, we don't get a henshin sequence for the first time, I think, this entire time. We don't get a stock henshin. They just, suddenly, they're in their forms, and they're fighting. Almost as it probably should be. And they're getting absolutely whooped by Caliber, until at the very last second, Caliber does his finishing strike, and it's about to hit them, when a bunch of lightning strikes, and a mysterious yellow rider appears and blocks the shot, and sends Caliber to Bubble World, where we then see Tassel sees Caliber through his window, and says a whole bunch of clearly ominous stuff, because he is obviously evil. Before the episode ends, and we find out that we're going to get the introduction of this Yellow Rider next time, he's actually been in the outro dance this entire time. It's Kento, spoilers, but the writer's name is Kamen Rider Espada, and it's Kento. But, super cool. Overall, this was just kind of a middling episode in my opinion. Stuff happened, for sure, but it wasn't anything great or spectacular. Overall, B minus. Not bad by any means. The stuff between Ryo and Sora as father and son and how much they care for each other is the best part of this episode. I really enjoy that dynamic, and I hope we see a lot more of it. Overall, though, it was a fine episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought down below. Do the YouTube things for me. It helps me out a lot. Thank you guys. Take care, my friends.